don't be afraid to price your work where you want your work to be priced at. People are going to mark it up anyway. Get what you believe that your value is.
Welcome, Mac creators, to the Mac Canvas Podcast, the place where creators share their expertise with aspiring creators. I'm your host, Imani Phillips. My guest today is Aneka Angel Ramirez.
She's primarily a painter. She does murals, custom work, clowns, creepy stuff.
She's going to share tips about the art market, art commissions, her painting style, and so much more. How long have you been creating art, and when did you decide to start selling it?
I've been creating art for as long as I can remember. I did put it down for quite a while once I was doing the college thing and all that. But I decided to start doing art and selling it professionally probably 2017, I think. I was kind of going through some things emotionally, and I needed kind of a vice, and I just started creating and didn't stop.
Yeah,
I
read about that in your interview with Houston Voyage, that you were going to do some stuff, so you kind of wanted to escape from all that with art.
Yeah, I needed my own thing. I felt like I had kind of reached a point, getting into your late 20s, you feel like, things kind of shift and you need something that's your own. So I just kind of dived right back in, kind of picked up a paintbrush one day, and I had never painted before. I'd only ever done color pencil and stuff. So once I started painting, I just never really stopped. I never went back to anything else.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. So you started painting in your 20s? That's when you started kind of creating?
Yeah, about
That's
20,
crazy.
27, I think. I'm 30. I'll be 32 here soon. So
that's crazy. So what made you start what gave you the idea to sell it?
To sell it?
Start selling your work.
A friend of my husband's, I had done a Joker piece actually. He's a fellow Joker fan. Of course, it had to be a Joker piece. And he was like, "Man, I want to buy that." And I was like, "Okay, I was like, you think it's that good? All right, well, let's do some more." And I just I found myself kind of looking for local shows and stuff, and just to have a reason to make a whole bunch of art. You know what I mean? And
yeah, right.
pretty cool.
So your Joker painting was your first original art piece that you sold?
No, not necessarily. In high school, I used to sell notebook drawings.
All right, that's crazy.
Number 2 pencil on notebook paper. I used to sell those quite a bit, 50 cents here, $1 there.
I can't believe people bought notebook drawings. Okay, yeah, I personally.
It was a thing, and they'd put them on the front of their binders, and it always made me feel good to see them walking around with it.
That's dope. I was actually homeschooled. I didn't go to school, but that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So, let's see. How was your experience at art events? You mentioned that you started going to art shows and creating for. How was your experience doing those shows?
Oh, I really enjoy art shows, especially when I have something new that I really want a lot of people to see, people that can appreciate, art. They're not just coming to a market or something. So I really love art shows for things like that. Whenever you have bigger pieces and things that you want to put a higher dollar on and stuff like that. I love art shows for that. And then art market, I just enjoy art markets so much because there's more of a socialized thing to it with other people that are set up. That's where I've met a lot of my close friends in the art community too. So
if you were to tell somebody to do art shows, what would be your advice? What are some mistakes you made, and what would be your advice to give someone who's just trying to go to art shows to show their work?
So what I recommend for art shows is always, for shows specifically and not a market, don't be afraid to price your work where you want your work to be priced at. People are going to mark it up anyway. Get what you believe that your value is. I tend to lowball myself, and I know a lot of artists say that, especially whenever they're just getting started or if they're not feeling very confident about the work that they're creating.
Right.
But
I do it too.
Yeah, but the skill that you have. That you can bust out a tiger in 2 or 3 hours and
it doesn't take 2 or 3 hours, it takes months.
Okay, so that's the buildup, right? That's what we do. We keep building on it and building on it. But if somebody said, "Imani, you go right now and you take 2 hours and you paint me up a quick little tiger,"
I could
Right.
do. I could. Yeah, you're gonna get 2 hours looking tiger though.
That's what people are paying for.
Right.
You really need to
How,
do that.
how much did you sell that Joker painting for?
The
The
first
one
one,
to. Yeah.
the
The
very
one.
first one, 40, $50.
How big was it?
Oh, yeah, it was probably like 11 by 14, nothing crazy. It wasn't huge. It was like, good 11 by 14 standard
Okay, I
size,
can see that.
but it was like a Heath Ledger Joker, and I was like really really happy with it. It's funny because yes, oh my god, me too. I got some figures sitting over there too. You know it. Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, so let me think. Staying on an art show topic, because
Hmm.
I have a video coming up called "The Mistakes I Made at Art Shows," and I made a lot of
Yeah.
mistakes. Do you
Mhm.
make prints?
I do. I like using prints mostly for art markets, not so much art shows. I feel like
Right.
people that go to markets, they want to spend 10, 15, 20, $30. So prints are good for that. I do recommend that. And you don't have to go, you know, crazy expensive prints, especially for a market deal. But if you're looking, obviously you're in a situation where you're doing a big art show and they recommend that you bring some fine prints, then you can do that. But Shutterfly is cool. you know,
Shutterfly. That's what you
little
use for your print.
Shutterfly, something like that, something where you can get a good deal. Because, like I said, at these markets, a lot of people, unless it's like a higher end, show of some kind, the more common market that artists in this community are going to be in are like not. I'm not calling it lower scale, but it's definitely higher foot traffic. But people want to spend $10, $15, $20. They don't want to spend $80 on a print. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
So,
So, yeah.
uh, is that how you would differentiate art market versus art events, like art shows?
Absolutely. Art shows, especially whenever you have someone that has curated you, brought you in, wants you to show specific art that you've submitted, things like that. Unless they ask for prints to sell on hand, like to have on hand or anything like that. Like I know Insomnia used to take in prints and stuff like that to sell for you. I want to say Namu Art Gallery too will do that too. They'll ask you to make some prints so that they have something smaller to sell. That way they get some kind of income coming through.
Yeah, that
But
makes sense.
that's a big difference. Art shows, you want to make sure that people know that you know what you're worth and price your work, accordingly. And then for art markets, I take like the smaller little paintings, like these little like 6x6s, that you can
Right.
charge $bucks for, nothing crazy. You spent maybe a couple hours on it, not 6 months.
This is cool because honestly, I'm still new to this. I have never been to an art market. I
Yeah,
haven't. So hearing it from you, someone who's been experienced, been doing this for a while, is really good. This is why
yeah,
I need people like you on my show to help out other
absolutely.
creators.
Absolutely. And what makes for a good art market for people usually is working with people that have like reputable markets around town. Not very expensive either. It might be like up to 25, $35, maybe even 50. But if you have a good event coordinator, it's totally worth it.
Where do you find art collectors? Now, I understand art buyers are going to be at the show already or looking to buy,
Yeah,
but art collectors, as in, like, how do you get art
custom.
commission deals?
Yeah. So for customs, art markets are good for meeting people for that. I like to keep a binder that has my pricing or my price ranges in it per size, just so that people know what I'm about. They'll ask about it sometimes, and people are like, well, if this, if that. They like to see it on a piece of paper.
Right.
So that's what I'll usually do. I'll just bring a little binder. I'll say, oh, these are my price range. Here's a card. Let me know if you're interested in anything, and I just let them know what my scheduling usually looks like. But actually, I'm going to be taking a break from commissions next year. I've been doing them since 2018 to now.
Ah,
For the first 2 years, I was doing 3 commissions a month just to kind of help with the bills and stuff. Uh,
okay.
but it was kicking my butt. I'm not gonna lie. And then I went down to 1 commission a month. But I've been booked solid since 2018, so it's been a real blessing for that.
Okay. So definitely, what would you consider yourself at that time a side hustle or like a full-time artist?
Uh,
What was it like?
the hours felt I mean, I don't know what hours a full time artist will usually do. I would imagine it at least, like a 30, 40 hour work week for an artist. But for me, I have an 8 to 5 job, you know?
Yeah.
So for me, I was painting after hours, but I'd get home, make dinner, clean up a little bit, and then go spend 2 or 3 hours in my little nook or room, depending on where I was at the time.
Okay.
Uh, so I would consider myself part time, just because I do have a full time job, but I feel like I put in the work to be considered like up there.
So when it comes to the like art market and art events, you already just told me how you price that. But when it comes to commissions, what is your price range and why do you choose it?
My price ranges are by size mostly, but only because I get a lot of the same requests. So if you have, I'll do sales sometimes on my smaller stuff like a 10 by 10 canvas. I'll do for like 50, $60 on a sale. But if we're
Okay.
going straight up like commission prices, anywhere from like $80 to $500, I like to keep stuff pretty accessible because I don't want to spend more than a month on a painting. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I wanna keep it rolling, and I mostly started doing commissions just to kind of build up my skill level, especially with portraits, because I like painting people. It's a thing, and animals. Um, so I wanted to better build up my skills with that by being given a specific thing to do and having to accomplish that specific thing.
Yeah, I was actually my next question that leads into what mindset do you have when you create art for other people rather than for yourself?
So, like I said, I am going to be taking a break from commissions because I feel like I've sort of lost my drive to paint for other people a little bit. I still have the drive to paint for myself, though. I do,
That's good.
on occasion, like a small painting, but I still have to work on commissions. So I've decided to go ahead and take that year because I feel like now that I've built up that skill, I can use it to start experimenting with my own things and start building up my style a little bit more.
I actually love your style, and we're going to get
Yeah.
to that question in just a minute. Like, how did you
Yeah.
find your own art style? It's very colorful. It pops so much. So, like, what was your inspiration behind your art style?
I feel like art styles just kind of happen to people a lot. I see there's a lot of types of art that I like, and like I'll try to make something that's kind of like it, just using certain elements or certain colors or certain techniques. But it always comes out different than how I imagined it originally. And I think that's where your style comes in, because
That's
then
true.
you finish and you're like, that looks pretty good. It doesn't
That's
look
so
like what
true.
I was hoping it was gonna look like, but it looks pretty good. And I feel like that's how a lot of people just kind of melt into their style.
That's so true. That's
Yeah.
how I feel honestly. Like, I look at a reference, but then it comes out looking totally different. I was like, I kind of like
Yeah,
it like this.
absolutely. I paint from reference a lot, especially like if because me, well, you're probably like me. You scam around Instagram a little bit. You see some really nice like photos that you like, certain
Yes.
shapes or certain colors and things, and you're like, oh, screenshot, that looks cool.
Screenshot. I screenshot so much. It's ridiculous.
Girl, I freaking I have like several albums in my phone where like I have organized all my screenshots.
I wish I was you. I don't organize it. It's messed up. It's just
I had
messed up.
COVID. The only reason I did it was because I had COVID and I had nothing else to do. So I went through my phone. I watched Stranger Things, and I went through my phone like organizing all my screenshots into like different reference points, like animals, female references, non-binary references, male references, flowers, trees, like everything. It's
Dang.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I need to organize my hard drive. I have a so when it comes to clowns, why
Yeah,
clowns? Why do you love them so much?
I've always had a thing for the Joker. I was as a kid, I didn't have cable or anything, so a lot of what I watched was TV cartoons, and for me, I got what do they call it? Reruns of Batman the animated series, and I love that
Okay,
Joker.
you're older than me. I didn't watch that.
I love that Joker, and I loved Harley Quinn in that. And then of course, Batman Beyond came on, and I loved the Batman Beyond Joker. That was my thing. And then of
Okay.
course, so from there, I really got into like Are you familiar with like Chicano art a little bit?
Actually, I never heard of that. What is that?
So it's kind of like a Hispanic, like kind of California West Side, even like here in Houston. It's kind of like pachucos and cholos and stuff like that. They draw a lot of clowns, a lot of like sad clown faces, pit
Okay.
bulls, and like angels and stuff like that. You know, like it's pretty cool. Like different characters. There were these characters called the homies that I used to draw a lot. They had a lot of clowns on that too. So
Okay.
I've just
I,
always for them. My mom hates it.
I'm gonna research that. I'm probably because they're rebellious. Maybe so.
Yes. David Gonzalez. If you search David Gonzalez homies, that's like the staple point of my reasoning for getting into a lot of that, just because I love his style so much.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
My personal favorite art style is manga. I love manga. Now,
See.
when you see my animals, that's a totally different genre. I'm actually a comic creator too.
I've
So
seen some of your comic creation stuff too. Yeah, I love it.
thanks.
We're a comic book household, so yes,
I'll
absolutely.
definitely send you a copy when it's done, man.
Yes. Oh my
Uh,
God, dude. Yes, I will buy that copy.
we're almost at actually we're exceeding the 15-minute mark, so I got two more questions for you. Then I'm
Okay,
gonna let you
go ahead.
go.
Okay.
Two things. Where can we find your work?
So I'm a little bit between like posting on platforms right now. I'm getting away from Etsy because the fees were getting kind of crazy. But right now I can be contacted through Instagram, Facebook. A lot of people have my cards out there too, and of course I'm at all the local markets. But just be aware, keep an eye out. I will be getting onto a new platform for posting work for sale.
That's great. Do you have
Yeah.
any art goals next month, next year? I heard you're taking a break, but you're gonna do your own thing. But
So
what's
I
your
am
art
going to
goals?
do a lot of my own thing, but I am going to be taking mural commissions next year. I'm getting away from canvas commissions. I want to do big stuff. I'm actually doing some free ones right now with different subject matters. So keep an eye on that too. Absolutely.
That's that's awesome. I'm not gonna paint on a mural. I can't do that big. I'm not doing
It's
it
fun.
ever.
It's so much fun. You got to try it once.
I'm gonna get tired. So, who should be the next guest on the Mad Habits podcast, a place where creators share stuff for other creators?
Highly 100% recommend Master K Art on Instagram. Her Instagram is masterk.art. She paints, she draws, she tattoos. I've always been a big fan of hers. Just like you, I followed her for a while before I ever met her in person. And now we're close friends. And like I said, I'm a big fan. So I'm just happy to be friends with this person because she's awesome. And she works hard. She painting is her full-time job. Or creating is her full-time job. So she's amazing.
Please make sure to rate and review this podcast. And if you're on YouTube, be sure to leave a comment down below and tell me what your favorite moment of the show was. I'd love to know what kind of value you're getting out of this podcast. I've got plenty more interviews coming soon, so stay tuned for that. Stay safe, and as always, stay mad.